Hi, it's Jo Karen Hudson. We're going to talk about the Pythagorean Theorem. In the Pythagorean Theorem, in a right triangle with legs A and B and hypotenuse C, A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Now the side that is across from the right angle is always C. Doesn't matter which one you label A or B. But A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. So we want to find the length of the side that is not given, give the exact answer, and then an approximation to 3 decimal places. So this one we have two sides that are 5. So we could call that A is 5 and B is 5. And the one across from the right angle is C. So that we're going to work out A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we'll have 5 squared plus another 5 squared is equal to C squared. 5 squared is 25, so we have 25 plus 25 is equal to C squared. Or 50 is equal to C squared. Or C is equal to the square root of 50. We want to give the exact answer. The square root of 50 will break down. The square root of 50 is the square root of 25 times the square root of 2, or I will have 5 square roots of 2 is equal to C. Now when you want to give the answer to 3 decimal places, you can put in the square root of 50 or you can put in 5 square roots of 2. You'll get the same thing. I think I will put in the 5 square roots of 2. That was the final answer. 5 square roots of 2. Whoops, that wasn't right. 5 square roots of 2. And that gives us 7 point, let me just drag it over here. I'm rounding off to 3 decimal places, so when I write this down, 7.0710, I want to copy down 4 of them so that I can keep 3. And so if I look at the one to the right of the 3rd decimal place, it's a 0, so I will just lop it off, and I will have 7.071. That's what the hypotenuse C is equal to. Okay, on this one, we're given the hypotenuse. We're given C. The one across from the right angle is 13. That's C. A is 7. It doesn't matter which one of the legs you label as 7. And B is the one that I'm looking for. So I'll have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 7, so I'll have 7 squared plus B squared that I'm looking for is equal to 13 squared. Or I'll have 49 plus B squared is equal to 13 squared, which is 169. And then I'll subtract 49 from both sides. And I'll have B squared is equal to 120, which means B is equal to the square root of 120. Now that will break down. I believe 4 will go into 120, so it's the square root of 4 times the square root of 30, or I have for B 2 square roots of 30. That's what B is equal to. Now it wants it rounded off to 3 decimal places, so I'm going to get my calculator out. 2 square roots of 30. And I'm going to grab this and put it right here. Then I'll let the calculator go. I'm rounding it off to 3 decimal places. So I'm going to copy it down 4, 10.9544. I'm keeping 3. If I look 1 decimal place to the right, that one is less than 5, so I'm just going to lop it off. So B is equal to 10.954. A surveyor wants to find the height of the building. At a point 104 feet from the base of the building, the surveyor must be here. 104 feet away from the base of the building, here's the building. He sights to the top of the building and finds that distance, the distance to the top of the building, to be 193 feet. 193 feet. This is 104 feet. And we're wanting to know how tall is the building. This is what we're wanting to know. Right here. How tall is the building? So you see, here's the right angle. So the hypotenuse, C, is 193. We could call this one A, and we could call the height B. That's what we're looking for. Looking for the height. So we have A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. A was 104. We're going to square that. Plus B squared, that's what we're looking for, equals C squared, which is 193 squared. So let's get out our calculator and scoot it over so we can use it. So we have 104 squared, 10,816, plus B squared equals 193 squared, which is 37,249. And then I'm going to have to subtract the 10,816 from both sides, minus 10,816. And that gives us 26,433. So B squared is equal to 26,433. So B is equal to the square root of that. So let's figure out what the square root of 26,433 is. And we want this rounded off to the nearest tenth. That's what it asked for in the instructions. So I'm going to snatch this and pull it all the way down to here. I want it rounded off to the nearest tenth. So I just have to copy 2 past the decimal point, 162.58. Rounded off to the nearest tenth, I'm just keeping 1 decimal place, looking 1 to the right. This would round off to 162.6 feet. Our last problem is about a color television that has a rectangular screen with a 35.9-inch width. Its diagonal measures 42 inches. What is the measure of the height of the screen? So this is what we're looking for. Now the diagonal is the hypotenuse. It's across from the right angle. So I'll say that C is 42 and that A is 35.9, and we'll be looking for B. So now I will have, my Pythagorean theorem says that A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. So I'll have 35.9 squared plus B squared is equal to 42 squared. Grabbing my calculator, I'll have 35.9. I'm going to square that. 1288.81. 1288.81 plus B squared is equal to, and then I'm going to have 42 squared. 1764. So I'm going to have to subtract the 1288.81 from both sides. And I'm going to use my calculator for that. Minus 1288.81. So that gives me B squared is equal to 475.9. .19, which means that B is the square root of 475.19. So now I'm going to put that in my calculator, second square root of 475.19. I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. I was told to do that in the instructions. So I'm going to grab this. I only have to copy down 2 decimal places because I'm keeping 1. So I'll have B is equal to 21.79. I'm keeping 1 decimal place. So I look out here, that's a 9, so it's going to round up. B is going to actually be 21.8 inches. This is Jo Karen Hudson. Thank you and have a wonderful day.